Hi, and thanks for logging on to the Daily DVAR Halacha. And here's a brand new halacha for you, and it is for Monday, the 13th of December, the 9th of Teves. Well, 9th of Teves, that should ring bells in your ears. A lot of things are going on right now. I'm going to explain them. Really, the 8th and the 9th and the 10th of Teves are considered sad days. The Gemara kind of calls it like 3 days of darkness befell the Jews. I'm going to quickly try to explain what happened during these 3 days. On the 8th of Teves, that was on Sunday, this story concluded. I'll tell it to you kind of quickly. There was a king called Talmai, and he wanted the Torah translated into Greek. So he took 70 rabbis, put them in 70 different rooms, and gave them separate instructions and told them to translate the Torah into Greek. And he didn't let them collaborate at all because he wanted to get an authentic, unadulterated translation of the Torah into the Greek language. If they collaborated, they would, together make up all kinds of ideas to not let him see the real truth of Torah. But here they were all working separately. So, and he told them that they better be accurate because he's going to match. I'm sorry, they didn't even know that it would be compared, but just that they should be accurate. So they translated and translated and translated in 70 different rooms, and they made switches. They made switches all over the place. Like the first three words says, Bereshis bara Elokim, in the beginning created God. That's if you translate it literally. They didn't want to write it that way because then the Greeks would think that the Torah is implying that there was something called in the beginning, which created God. That's like the Greek narrative, that there are gods that create gods and dueling gods and everything. So the first rabbi made a switch and translated it as God created in the beginning. But what was amazing was, unbeknownst to him, all the other 69 rabbis made the same exact switch. And they did this many times. They made switches. The one that I love to tell each year is the one on the list of the kosher, non-kosher animals. There was an animal called the arneves, which is like the rabbit. But Rabbi number one realized that arneves was the name of Talmai's wife, so he said, I have to make a switch. And he switched it into some other word, which was like the word hare, Hare. But amazingly, all 70 rabbis made that exact same switch. And so many switches were done, all without collaboration, and yet they came out identical. When Talmai and his scholars looked over the final result, and it was on the 8th of Teves, they were all identical, and so he thought he had a real authentic copy of the Torah into Greek, and it was really with a lot of switches that the rabbis did. So this was amazing. Although it was an amazing accomplishment, something that you could pretty much call miraculous, nevertheless, the rabbis considered it a time of darkness because now the Greeks had the Torah translated into their language, and they did not really understand what they were reading. They didn't really have the real Torah. They didn't have our Masorah of what all the words of Torah mean, our tradition. So they now had their copy with the switches, and they thought they had the real Torah, and the Torah fell off of its great pedestal of the mystique that belonged only to the Jewish people, because now the Greeks and the rest of the world also thought that they had a view into our Torah, and of course they didn't. So they considered it 3 days of darkness. But two other sad things happened during this time also, during the 3 days of darkness. That's what we're in the middle of right now. On the 9th of Teves, Ezra passed away, the great Ezra, who was the one who helped the Jewish people at the time that they came up to rebuild the second Beis Hamikdash. He passed away on the 9th of Teves. And infamously, also on the 10th of Teves, that's going to be Tuesday, that's when the siege around the city of Yerushalayim was complete, which led about 3 years later to the destruction of the first temple. Anyway, that began on the 10th of Teves, and so we mark that also as a sad day. And we will be fasting on that day, all day light time on Tuesday. And I'll be giving you a few specifics about the fast coming up in our Tuesday Halacha. Thanks for logging on, and log on again tomorrow for more. Bye-bye.